Hello and welcome to Hook or Crook Crochet. I am Tiffany and I am going to be making this adorable crochet cheeseburger. I'm actually going to start with how to make the buns today. I have a separate video that I posted on how to make these adorable French fries as well. So if you want to know how to make the toppings, I'll talk about that just a little bit. So the bun on the top, I didn't stuff the bun because if you make a lot of toppings, it prevents your bun from falling over with the stuffing. So, there's our bun. And I've also got some red onion as a topping on this. I made a little bit of bacon. I love bacon on my burgers. I made a tomato. And this tomato, I didn't do too many embellishments. For example, this is another example of a tomato that I did that's a little bit smaller with the embellishments on that. And then, of course, we've got lettuce. And the cheese is a favorite topping, of course. The hamburger bun itself. And then the bottom bun, which is the same pattern as the top. I did stuff this one a little bit more because it's on the bottom. So again, when you put them together, that top bun is not going to fall off. So this is my crochet cheeseburger. If you follow me on any other social media platforms, I did get quite a few views and comments, over 5.1 million views on making this crochet cheeseburger. So I'm going to guess it's a favorite. So I'm going to show you what materials that I used for my crochet burger. So let's get started with that. I have been making variables of my crochet hamburger or cheeseburger for quite some time, and I've used slightly different colors, but today I'm going to be using this yarn from Big Twist, and the name of this color is Mustard. So I'm going to be using that for the darker portion of the bun. And I'm going to be using this color. I lost my sleeve on it, but I think this is called Ivory by Red Heart. Now this bun I used a little bit darker color, but any light color would do. I've tried some very light or white colors that don't look as authentic as using something that's a little more on the beige side. So ivory is what I used there. We're going to, of course, need our crochet hook. Today I'm going to use a 2.5 millimeter hook. I have used smaller hooks in the past. It just really depends on the size of your hamburger or cheeseburger. Sometimes I use the smaller hook because the little ones might be using this burger for their play dishes and their hands are smaller. So you can use your discretion as to what size hook that you're going to use. Of course, you will need a pair of scissors and a tapestry needle. If you like using stitch markers, you will probably need one of those. I tend to use just a little piece of yarn as I mark my work. So if you have all of those tools, let's go ahead and get started. Let's begin with the mustard color, and I am going to make a magic circle, and directly into that magic circle I am going to single crochet 6 times. 6 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And we're going to pull that tight. And there is your first round with 6 single crochet. If you don't know how to make a magic circle, you could do 2 single crochet and then do 6 single crochet into the second hook from the chain. I like to use the magic circle just so I can pull it nice and tight, and we won't have an opening in the top of our bun. Okay, so once we're there, we're going to move on to increase with 2 single crochet in each stitch around. We're going to be ending up with 12 single crochet. that first one might be a little tight if you pulled your ring or your circle tight. So there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 'Pull it again, 10, and as you can see, I'm just crocheting right over my tail, and the last 2 at 12 stitches. Pull it nice and tight. So we have a total of 12 stitches. So I'm going to bring in my stitch marker. I'm going to use just a small piece of yarn. And on this next round, we're going to start to increase with 1 single crochet in the next stitch, 2 single crochet in the next, 1 single crochet in the next stitch, 2 single crochet in the next, all the way around. So we've got 1 single crochet, and then in the next stitch we're going to do 2 single crochet, and we're going to do that all the way around. I'm going to come back and meet you at the end. Okay, when we get to the end of this round, we should have 18 single crochet all the way around. I'm going to move my stitch marker. My piece of yarn is my stitch marker. So in this next round, we're going to continue to increase. In the next stitch, we're going to do 1 single crochet, in the next another single crochet, and in the next 2 single crochet. So 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, and we're going to do that all the way around. Just like this. Okay, so I'll meet you back around at the beginning. So you should have ended up with 24 stitches all the way around, and I'm going to move my stitch marker, and we're going to start on the next row where we're going to increase again, 1 single crochet in the next 3 single crochet, and then 2 single crochet in the next. So you got 1 single crochet, another single crochet, and a third single crochet, and then 2 in the next. We're going to do that all the way around, and I'll meet you back at the beginning. So you should end up having 30 stitches all the way around. So for this next round, we're going to do something just a little bit different. We're going to single crochet in the next 3 crochet. So we're going to single crochet, single crochet, single crochet, and then we're going to begin our new row after that. So let's do that now. 1, 2, and 3. And then I'm going to move my stitch marker over to let this be where we start our next round. Like this. So we're going to continue to increase where we're going to do 1 single crochet in the next 4, and then 2 single crochet in the next, all the way around. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4 single crochet, and then 2 single crochet in the next. And we're going to do that and work that same pattern all the way around. Now you should end with 36 stitches in this round. I'm going to move my stitch marker and continue to increase. We're going to increase to 5 single crochet and then 2 in the next. So our increase is going to look like this. 2, 3, 4, 5 single crochet, and then we're going to do 2 in the next stitch. And we're going to do that all the way around, and I'll meet you back. You should end with 42 stitches in this round, and we are once again going to do 5 single crochet and move our stitch marker, and that will be the beginning of our next round. So let's do 5 single crochet. That's 3, that's 4 and 5. And let's move our stitch marker. So this will be the beginning of our next round. So what we're going to do next is increase with 6 single crochet in the next 6 stitches, and then 2 in the next. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 2 in the next. And we're going to continue to work that pattern all the way around. And now you should have 48 stitches all the way around. So I'm going to move my stitch marker, and we are going to do the next round, which is going to be super easy. We're going to do 1 single crochet all the way around. So 1 single crochet, you should end up with 48 stitches once again. 1 single crochet all the way around, and I'll meet you back. I'm finishing up the row, and I am on stitch number 45 of 48. So 46, 47, and in that last stitch, I'm going to do a slip stitch. So the very last stitch, do a slip stitch, and we are going to connect our next color, the lighter color or the inside of the bun. So let's grab that yarn. Now, if you want to join your yarn in your favorite way, feel free to do that here. I'm just going to join the yarn there. Okay. And then you're going to go around on this next round with the light brown color or the inside of the bun color. And I'm going to do 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way around. So again, that is going to be 48 stitches. So I'll meet you around at the end. Now I am on my 47th stitch in this round. And what I'm going to do in that very last stitch, instead of going into this single crochet there, I'm going to go through, kind of make my own way to this stitch on the other side, right here. So when I kind of complete this first row for the bun, I can make this match up a little bit better. You know, here it'll be more flush going around. That's what I'm attempting to do. But if you have any other way that makes it all kind of come together and you still end up with 48 stitches, that will be fine. Okay, so what we're going to do next, I'm going to put a stitch marker here. I'm going to use another color. So in this next round, we are going to do a slip knot all the way around. Now be very, very careful to do a loose enough slip knot. You don't want it to be too tight, because when you're going around on the next round, it's going to be very difficult for you to work within those stitches. So you're just going to go all the way around in each stitch and make a very loose slip knot. Okay, so you're still going to end up with 48 stitches, and I'll see you back around on the other side. Now I've got one last slip knot to complete this round. And if you haven't noticed already, I am making sure that this is the right side of the bun and this is the wrong side. I use the wrong side because it gives a little more of a realistic texture of a bun. The right side is just a little bit too neat for me. So make sure you start to flip it to the wrong side as you start to work around. So as you can see here on my finished bun, we used the wrong side for the top of the bun. Okay? So now that you've done your slip stitch, I'm going to put my stitch marker right here. And in this next round, we're going to start to decrease. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a single crochet 2 together, and then we're going to do 6 single crochet and a single crochet 2 together, and we're going to complete that pattern all the way around. So if you don't know how to do a single crochet 2 together, you're going to go into that stitch, pull up a loop, and then you're going to go into the next single crochet and pull up a loop. You have 3 loops on your hook, and then you're going to pull that all the way through. So that's a single crochet 2 together, and then we're going to single crochet 6, 1, 2, 3, and this is why that last row, your slip stitch should be as loose as possible because it can get too tight for you to get your hook in there. So let's do 3 more. 4, 5, 6, and then we're going to do a single crochet 2 together, and continue around 6 single crochet and 1 single crochet 2 together, all the way around, and I'll meet you back on the other side. On this row, I am at the last 6 stitches. So if you remember in the previous row, we started it out with a single crochet 2 together, and then we did 6 and a single crochet 2 together all the way around. So when you get to the end, you should just be doing 6 single crochet, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, and we're going to start to decrease all the way around. So we did 6, we're going to do 5, 4, 3, 2 within this same pattern. However, on this next row, instead of starting out with a single crochet 2 together, just single crochet 5 first and then do that. And the reason that I did it that way excuse me, is because I kind of didn't want this to be a gap here. And that's why I started out with the 2 single crochet on that first decrease row, so we can kind of make this blend together. But if I kept doing it that way, it would kind of create like this hole that would appear here. So that's why I do it that way. I mean, is it a really bad hole? Is it anything that's going to make or break your bun? No. But if you want it to look as neat with the stitches flowing together, I think this works better. So we're going to do the 5 single crochet first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we're going to do the single crochet 2 together, and you're going to continue that all the way around. And every time you decrease, every time you do the decrease now, you're going to do this same pattern where you will start out with the single crochet and then you would do the single crochet 2 together. So We're going to keep going, and I'll meet you back when we get down to the middle there, and I'll show you how to close up your work. But this is essentially how you are finishing off your bun. This is how my bun is starting to shape up. Now, if you did want to stuff it a little bit, this is a good time to stuff. I am down to the 2 single crochet and 2 single crochet together. So this next row would be 1 single crochet, 2 together, 1 single crochet, single crochet 2 together. I'm going to stuff it just a teeny tiny bit. Let's see if I can grab some fiber fill, or if you just had some scraps. So when I put a little stuffing in here, I'm going to be sure to put most of the stuffing around the edges. So again, the middle can stay flat when I'm constructing my burger and putting all the toppings. And you'd be surprised at, how little you should use, because it really gets too poofy if you overstuff. So as you can see, I'm not really stuffing in the middle. I'm stuffing more around the edges. And you can play with this a little bit in the end if you need to adjust your stuffing. Don't want to lose my stitch in there. Okay. So I'm going to stop there. And this is how my bun is coming into shape. Okay, so in this next row, I'm going to do 1 single crochet and a single crochet 2 together, 1 single crochet and a single crochet 2 together, and you're going to continue to do that all the way around. 1 single crochet and a single crochet 2 together, and on the next row we're just going to do single crochet 2 together to start to close down the hole in the bottom of the bun. Okay, I'm gonna move my stitch marker right there. So I've got this small hole, and I'm just going to go all the way around and do single crochet 2 together. Just continue the decrease. And just a couple more. Single crochet 2 together. And 1 more. Single crochet 2 together. Actually, I've got 1 more. Single crochet 2 together. Okay. So you have a tiny hole there where I kind of take my tapestry needle and go in and sew that. Let's see where my scissors might be. I'm gonna cut my yarn there. You could do another single crochet 2 together if you wanted to, whichever way you find is best for closing up your bun. I'm just gonna shape it a little, and I'm gonna get a tapestry needle here. And what I'm going to do is just kind of weave each stitch. Weave those last few stitches together, just like that, and then just tuck in my tail. If I want to close in that little hole a little bit, I'll put a stitch through there, just like that. And that's it. I'm going to clip that tail. And then you can shape the bun. And this was the beginning with my magic circle. I'm just going to snip that off. I was crocheting around that tail. And then where you joined the colors at the color change, you're just going to weave those in. And that's pretty simple. So if any of you have a much more clever way when you're crocheting in a continuous round to make those yarn changes look a little more seamless, I'd love for you to share how you do that with me. Sometimes when I am weaving in the ends like I am now, I might just, get really creative to make it look like the other stitch. When I'm making crochet play food, it's just very individual and it's very creative. There's no one size fits all to anything. So you can be as creative as you like. It's just like cooking real food. It's very individual. You can measure with your heart, or you can use a cookbook that makes you create your recipes in a very precise way. Okay, so I'm going to snip these off. And there's my bun. So the last piece of the top bun is to sew in the little sesame seed looking stitches, and I just randomly go in with the same light color that I used here to sew those in. Now for the bottom bun, the pattern is essentially the same except one thing. The row where we did the slip knot to kind of make it have this lip that will show up like this, you don't need to do that on the bottom. So the pattern is the same, except you exclude the slip knot row. And that's it. And that's how you get your cheeseburger or hamburger bun to finish it off. All right. Well, if you have any questions or if you have any other suggestions that you'd like to make and how to make your bun easier and better, please share in the comments.